All right. Welcome back. I know it's been a few days, but I am back. We're going to do a very neutral, bias breakdown of the Bitcoin chart with all of the global pandemic panic around the world, the stock market's crashing. A lot of this price action has been emotionally charged. I needed to take a step back, clear my mind, come back with a fresh look at everything. Look at the chart. Show me the chart. I'll tell you the news. We got to go back to that mindset. So like I said, today we're going to focus on the indicators and the charts. We're going to push all that negativity away and we'll focus on Bitcoin today. If you like these videos, hit that like, comment, subscribe, tick the bell for notifications. This is Crypto Rolly, the crypto watch that never stops. Live technical analysis, price predictions, and trading. These are my own ideas and opinions on the market, so please do your own research, trade at your own risk. I am not your financial advisor. All right, so let's take a look at the market. And we can see we're slightly down, okay? Let me give it a refresh real quick. But mostly just chopping sideways over the weekend. This is usually what we see with weekend price action. You can see Bitcoin is down almost 3%, it shows. Let me take a look at the chart. Okay, still at 6,000. So 3% in the last 24 hours. Ethereum down 5%. 5% on Litecoin, almost 7% on Tezos. The real volume still above a billion. It's pretty good for a weekend, but less than we've been seeing over the course of the week. The crypto fear and greed index still in extreme fear. We've seen nines, we're at 11, and this is representative of the basically extreme fear around the world. The stock markets are still in extreme fear, and the death toll now is around 400 in the United States. 2 days ago, it was at 200, so that number is rapidly increasing. And then the governor of New York this morning is talking about 40 to 80% of all New Yorkers getting the virus at some point. And on top of that, talking about, this is not just a weekend or week type thing. This could last a month. There's no real time frame. So we don't know how long, we're going to be in this situation, and a possible recession, depression. People have been throwing around big terms, describing a financial collapse. So this is normal to see that we're at a very extreme fear level. However, we got to keep our bias neutral, especially with Bitcoin. Because here's the thing with Bitcoin. When the stock markets were dropping hard, as this news about the pandemic spread, everyone was saying, hey guys, this is a risk-on asset directly correlated with the stock market, okay? But then we also had this rally here. Everyone was talking about this is a safe haven asset. We saw gold pumping during this rally because of the Iran conflict, and people were saying, okay, Bitcoin's correlated to gold. It's a safe haven asset. So it was safe haven here. Then it was a risk-on asset tied to the stocks here. And then over the past few days, let's take a look at that. We've been rallying, and people are saying we've decoupled from the stock market, because the stock market, if you take a look, is still in a downtrend. And you know what? I'll get to this point in a second, because if you look at the stock market, you can see clearly still in a downtrend, where Bitcoin, had a bottom and broke out. This one has not done that yet. If you go to a smaller time frame, maybe the 4 hour. Yeah, the 4 hour is still being governed by this blue 10 simple, okay? And you're looking at, lows on the year still, where Bitcoin, broke out from its bottom. So if we go over to Bitcoin's chart, you can see that. So it looks a little different. So in one hand, we are a safe haven. Then the next month we are risk on, and now we're decoupling, and people, don't forget, the halving is coming in 2 months, okay? So this to me is making me think, you know what? Let's just focus on the Bitcoin chart. If the Bitcoin chart is rallying, we're going to have a bullish bias. If the chart is dumping, I'm going to have a bearish bias. If there's a breakout, I have to follow that breakout. I can't sit here and ignore a breakout because the stocks are falling. So yes, I am going to keep my eye on traditional markets. Why not? Might as well. But I have to focus on the Bitcoin chart and stop listening to all the news, because all of that news is, like I said, emotionally driving you into your decisions and can, throw off your bias when, the price is pumping and you don't want to admit that we were pumping here because stocks are falling. So let's focus on Bitcoin, okay? So let's go to the weekly chart. Looking at the weekly right off the bat, the main interest, and this will close in a few hours later today, we'll get our weekly candle close. So last week's candle closed beneath both the pink 200 simple and the green 200 EMA. This was super bearish because we have never done that ever before. Now, we are looking to see if we can close back above, okay? If we can get back above. This could be potentially a good setup, because let's go over to the monthly. We have the monthly closing in about a week. And currently, this monthly has a pretty large wick here, a nice bounce. We'd like to see this monthly close, I would say, at least back above the 50 EMA here, which is at 55.80. So as long as we can close above that on the monthly, it's somewhat decent, okay? I don't think we'll get above the yellow 21 EMA at 72.86, but we're keeping an eye on this monthly close in about a week. So going back to the weekly, this could set up that, next move. And looking at a doji with the wicks on both sides, you're kind of creating a range, and we'll see that on the daily as well. So basically, say we close at this point here. It's kind of a good sign that we are back above, this level that pretty much was never meant to be broken at all. And maybe it only broke because of the black swan event, okay? Maybe it broke only because BitMEX liquidation, machine just like sent us almost to $1,000 or $0 that day. We've talked about this briefly in previous videos. I'm sure you've heard other people talking about it, but basically the liquidation engine, as they call it, was pushing prices down on BitMEX. And, had they not pulled the plug and went on maintenance, the price could have dropped to zero, is what they're saying. Basically, when they pulled the plug on BitMEX, the price was down here at 3,800. As soon as they pulled the plug, you saw that bounce back, okay? Doesn't make us very confident in Bitcoin if one exchange like BitMEX could send the price to zero. They even said that they were hacked, that there was foul play involved. So that's not very, confident. Doesn't drive my confidence. But we have to keep that in mind. So maybe that's why we dipped as far as we dipped. And the true value, even with the panic around the world, maybe the true value of Bitcoin is around here. These are just hypotheses, okay? So to close back above could be a good signal. And now you create a range basically between the top side and the lower side. So the top of this candle comes in at 71.39 and the bottom of it at 44.35. Yes, this is a huge range, and we might range sideways here between these levels, and then a break above here or a break below there will give you your next move. This is just a possibility, okay? Also, let's break out a drawing tool. Let me go to maybe a different chart. We'll go over to BitMEX and we can start fresh, because while I'm thinking about it, we are still in this perfect. We're still in this symmetrical triangle type setup here. So had you drawn, a trend line from the bottom of this candle, support, and just drawn it out, and you can do the same up top, creating that one there. You can see that we closed last week's back above the symmetrical triangle, and this week's candle we're back in it as well. So this could have just been, an overshoot. Blame it on BitMEX, blame it on, the black swan event. So this could have just been an overshoot, wicked below, and now we're back in the triangle. So if this level can hold, maybe we do bounce around in this level, for this region for a little bit, but we could continue up and then retest the top side of it down the road, maybe sometime after the halving, which would be around May, sometime right around this region. Okay, so we could bounce around here, and then after May we make that attempt to break the top side of this symmetrical triangle. So keep this one on your radar. I know we get caught up in short-term time frames and we forget to zoom out sometimes, so that's why I do want to go back to my 4-hour minimum. All right, so let's look at the other indicators just real quick. Your stochastics, I'll go back over to my Bitstamp chart. I like to do my charting there, but sometimes you need a fresh chart. So the stochastics on the weekly, hinting, it's hard to see there, but here you can see a little better, possibly hinting at a curl back and cross back up. Okay, so we'll keep our eye on that one. This is lagging, so we'll, basically next week's candle will probably play a larger role in if this crosses back up or not. Okay, your RSI never came down to that oversold area, so we do potentially have more room to fall as far as the RSI goes. So we'll just keep our eye on that one as well. Going over, let's see, can we see anything with the Ichimoku clouds? Ichimoku cloud, well, we can see that when we did rally this week, the top hit exactly on this this blue conversion line at 71.75. We hit 71.40. So you can see that was the resistance there, and we tapped it almost exactly. So that's cool to see. So, if you were trading down here before that move and you were looking at your weekly Ichimoku, you could have called that as the top side target. Okay. Our Bollinger Bands, your middle BB resistance is a little bit higher, and we'll see this probably come down in the next week or two. So this could act as resistance moving forward. If you can get back above the middle BB and back into the bullish zone, that'll be good for the bulls. And good to see that the weekly is looking to close back into the territory and not outside of the lower BB. Okay. Before I go to the daily, while it's on my mind, we do have the CMEs closed. And they're going to open up in a couple of hours for sure. This is a weekend, tradition here. But basically, we closed. I'll go over to maybe a 4-hour chart to look at the CME close, take off our Bollinger Bands. So this says 62.10 on the side. But really, if you look up here, you can see we closed at 59.75. And taking a look, we can see that it closed right here. And if you go back over to Bitcoin's chart, that basically looks like somewhere right here. So this is where we closed over on Friday, the CME close. Price is pretty much in the same level that we were on Friday. So at current price, 6,040, if we close here, I don't think there will be very much of a gap. We'll have to see. Just looking at it with the naked eye, it looks as if the gap will be above. So I'm imagining that, since price is so close to where the gap will be, and it will just be a small gap, we can look to probably fill that gap later this evening or tomorrow morning, probably pretty quickly. We still have this large gap up here on the CMEs, but I don't think this one will get filled as soon as some of the others. And remember, we still have that gap at 11.8 that just hasn't been filled since this was back in August 2019. So sometimes they do take a little while to fill. We're still waiting on this one, but every other gap has filled, okay, guys? And they fill pretty quickly, especially when the price is close to it. So like I said, this was a large runaway gap. By the time that CMEs opened back up, the price was dumping hard, and I didn't see us filling this one anytime soon. But we'll keep our eye on that one later today, okay? So let me go back to the Bitcoin chart, and we'll continue breaking down. We'll go to the daily, okay? So on the daily, we were looking at an ascending triangle. You can see how the top wick ended here, wick here. If you go to the 4-hour, you can maybe see this a little closer. And basically you had support here, flipped resistance, resistance, and you came up. Once we broke out, we had a nice little rally. We had a nice breakout. We were rejected, and then we were bounced back above it. So we had a clear ascending triangle. We had a breakout. We had a retest. But it's been the weekend, so we just chopped along sideways, still maintaining this support level. My bias here is very dependent on which way we break, okay? Of course, if I'm looking at the world news, I'm going to be heavily bearish. I'm going to be calling this a lower high, but I'm going to just pay attention to the chart because as of now, we broke out and we had what? Resistance, flip, support. So could we bounce here and continue higher? Yes, we can. So I can't just immediately assume that we are going to dump. Now, if we lose the support level, and especially if we lose this one down here at 5,500, yes, the odds of us dropping farther become more likely, okay? So looking at our moving averages on the daily chart, we can see that we were finding a range between the blue 10 simple and the yellow 21 EMA. You can see we had wicks to the upside and downside. This is a doji candle. It's an indecision candle, and basically it creates a range. You break the top side of that for your next move up, break the bottom side of this for your next move down. The very following daily candle was a doji within a doji, so another indecision candle and a range getting smaller, which kind of looked like you were forming a bit of a, I would say, a bit of a descending, or sorry, a symmetrical triangle type pattern, but like say it was the weekend and you don't have very strong volume on the weekend, so you have false breakouts, breakouts that don't really happen. We'll just change this to white. This is what I was looking at. And I saw last night that we were looking to break the symmetrical triangle to the upside somewhere right here, but it was the weekend. I don't trust the volume on the weekend, and we ended up just falling back down anyways. So that's why I don't hold too much weight on price action over the weekend. Had this been a weekday, we could have seen more of a breakout there. Okay, so going back to the daily and looking at our moving averages, we can see the range that we're in, okay? A little sideways consolidation. To me, this is an equal opportunity sideways consolidation, okay? This one, you could look at this as a bull flag of, a pull up, flag out to the side, and another pull up. That would, bring your target maybe up here, which would also make sense because you had this trading region here, so you could retest that. So you had support and retest it as resistance. Your 50 EMA would be 77.46. Of course, we need to get above the yellow 21 EMA first, which has come down to 67. So I'd say between 6,700-ish and your blue 10 simple is at 56.50. So this is now your range, and it's going to constrict. The longer we go sideways, this will come down, this will come up, forcing us to squeeze and pick a direction, all right? So yes, bulls are going to see this as a potential bull flag, and bears are going to say, hey, guys, clearly we're in a downtrend, and you have a lower high. High, lower high, lower high, lower high. And in fact, what did we do here? We came up and we retested the bottom of this trading range as support, now flipped resistance. You had support here, and we came up, we tested it as resistance and rejected. I could find an argument on both sides, and that's what we're doing today. We're looking at both sides neutrally, and then whichever the price decides to go, we will follow, okay? Moving to the Bollinger Bands. Bollinger Bands, you hit your middle BB resistance. So that was also an area, where you could look to sell. Okay, so if you were longing, this would have been an area to sell. And you can see why you found many reasons we found resistance here. You found it based off of this price action and looking at your indicators as well, okay? Ichimoku clouds, finding resistance under the blue conversion line. We wicked up all the way to the pink baseline, okay? So always use your indicators. Don't let emotions run your decisions, and zoom out. The daily Stokes have been, they kind of snaking around here. They are pointed up. If we do dump, you'll get this cross back down. So we're watching that as well, okay? Let's go to the 12-hour real quick. 12-hour, how we doing on time? 20 minutes. We're just sticking with Bitcoin's chart, and it has been a few days, so I wanted to do a thorough breakdown of Bitcoin, okay? And, if Bitcoin starts to look bullish, we can look at more altcoins, but no need to look at the altcoins if Bitcoin is going to drop, okay? So I'll save altcoins for, more bullish price action. Your 12-hour Stokes, looking like they could cross up. So you have the daily looking like it could cross down, the 12-hour looking like it could cross up. And you know what? This is probably just because we are ranging sideways. Ichimoku clouds, you are between your blue conversion line and your pink baseline, creating a range there as well. Your Bollinger Bands, 12-hour Bollinger Bands, you are in the bullish zone, okay? So let's keep that in mind moving forward. We did break above and we're maintaining in the bullish zone. You lose the middle BB support at 5,600, and that will be bearish. But as of now, on your checklist, Bollinger Band, 12-hour, bullish. Our moving averages, not doing a whole lot for me, but I will say, I'd like to see this 12-hour blue 10 simple hold support at 59.76. A close beneath that could also trigger some more downside. Closing above the yellow 21 EMA hasn't done a whole lot, but that was the weekend, and like I say, weekend's less reliable. You can see, however, during the week when we closed back above the yellow 21 EMA, we got that move up to the 50 EMA at 7,200. I posted on Twitter when we were here that we had closed above the yellow 21 EMA and that your resistance was way up here around 7,100. And I said, that would be crazy. And well, it happened. So zoom out, look at a larger time frame. If you're looking at the 15-minute chart, the 1-hour chart, you're going to be thrown all over the place, all right? So let's go back to basics, guys. Back to the basics. Go into our 4-hour last time frame we'll take a look at. We were chopping sideways between the blue 10 simple and the yellow 21 EMA. And, this current 4-hour candle is looking to close beneath all major moving averages. This could also cause a bit of a dump. If we say we dump before CME opens, I would say we would dump down, and CME opens, we would retest back up, filling that gap, and then potentially reject it again. So it could be a breakout, retest to fill a gap, and then reject it again. Just a possible scenario, okay? Our Bollinger Bands, we were holding support along the middle BB here, and then we've broken back into the bearish zone. You can also see this tightening up. When this tightens up, you can get a larger move coming, and currently in the bearish zone as we're tightening up. So this consolidation could possibly break down. Prices at 6,008, we'll have to see, okay? You get in an hourly close in about 3 minutes. Nothing too crazy, still holding support. You can see a flat line of support coming straight across. So, you also have to remember, there's a rule: buy support, sell resistance. So selling or shorting right here as you're sitting on clear support isn't the best idea. It would be better to wait for a breakout, and even better, a retest failure. So breakout, retest, and then bounce would be the most ideal setup for a short. Otherwise, if you're still bullish, this would be a support level to buy, but I would just be careful and know that, we could dump. All right, so going back to our 4-hour to wrap it up, in the bearish zone on the Bollinger Bands, Ichimoku clouds. You know, you had a bullish Kumo cross here, and your blue conversion line is headed up, and your pink one. So these are diverging away from each other. It's interesting to see. We'll have to keep our eye on this, and we're just floating through this cloud here. So you do have your resistance will be 63.86, and I would say the bottom of the cloud would be your support, which is at 5,788. So this is kind of the range you're creating on the 4-hour Ichimoku cloud. And your Stokes are still going down, okay? You know, yesterday we were here looking for a potential breakout, and the Stokes almost crossed up, but it never happened officially. See right here, it was looking like it could cross back up. So keep your eye on those 4-hour Stokes. Now, if we just keep creeping down here without a major dump and your Stokes get low and then cross back up, you could see another rally to the upside. All right. So there you have it, guys. We're going to stick to the indicators. We're going to try to keep emotions out of it. We're going to practice safe trading one day at a time. We aren't going to get rich overnight. This is a marathon. So, you know, it's not a good idea to freak out and think it's now or never, okay? So, you know, what if all of this was just a nightmare and we end up pumping to 10K, then 20K? You're going to be really upset with yourself if you lost all your money trying to trade down in this region. Now, if we do fall down to the 4K, 3K area, it's just a better opportunity to stack more at lower levels. Or if you've been dollar cost averaging and you think this, you know, these are prices of a lifetime, it's another great buying opportunity for you if you think this in the long run that Bitcoin will prevail. You know, I do think down the road these are amazing prices myself. So nothing to be scared about, no reason to panic, and we just need to remind ourselves one day at a time. We'll wrap it up with the Heikin Ashi. You are looking at bearish candles on the Heikin Ashi, so you know, short term, lowest time frame we're going to look at, you do have bearish trend setting in here. But let's zoom out, look at the 12-hour. The 12-hour also starting to put in a red candle. You can see, you know, that these often turn green for a while and turn red for a while. So we need to continue to look at our Heikin Ashis. Your daily could be forming a reversal candle. You know, when you have wicks on both sides, like you saw here and here, that was a reversal on the daily Heikin Ashi. So we could be putting that in currently now, unless this is a bull flag and we break up, okay? Let's look at the weekly. Weekly still very bearish on the weekly Heikin Ashi. And just for the sake of looking, like I said, we have a monthly coming up soon. What a wick, what a wick. Okay, but this is the Heikin Ashi, and you are putting in a bearish candle there. Okay, so let's take it slow, one day at a time, stick to basics. And guys, you know, this is all a learning experience, okay? It's all a learning experience. If you guys can hit the like again one more time. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe for me. Leave a comment for me. I do have a trading group. If you're interested, there's information down at the bottom. You can contact me directly if you are looking to use BTC as a payment. Otherwise, I have other payment options with Patreon. The link's below, and that's going to do it for me today. Thanks for watching once again, and we'll see you soon.